Hey, Jeff Browning here with a coaching tip. We're going to talk about a mountain kit or pack and what I carry in my pack. So I'm in the middle of training for Cocodona 250. There is a required kit in that race, much like something like UTMB and some other bigger 100-mile mountain races that have required gear. I wanted to kind of break down what I carry in a more maximalist version down to a more minimalist version. So this is the 12-liter Ultraspire Big Bronco, one of my signature packs, and if you can see, it's a race vest that's very stretchy, has tons of pockets in it. So I'll start in the front. I have a 500 milliliter flask in each side, so I have 500 and 500, so a liter up front, one of Tailwind, one of water. Personally, that's what I like to use. I also have, in these pockets, I carry some calories, so I have some banana chips, a gel right here. And then here I have a container of salt tabs. I have my collapsible reusable cup, and that's kind of my front. Then in the back, I have two pockets here that have another liter of water, so a 500 milliliters on each side. I can also add a 2-liter bladder to add a 4-liter carrying capacity. That right now I'm carrying, I'm getting ready to go for a longer run, so I have 2 liters on me. And I have bungees for poles, so poles are on there. And then in the back, as you can see, this grab rim, I have everything stuffed into a waterproof Hyperlite dry bag that has just a barrel nut drawstring closure. This makes it sweat proof, basically mostly waterproof. And inside of that, I put all my kit. So that allows me just to grab this over while I can take a hike break, I can get stuff out of it, zip it back up and throw it over my shoulder and put it back in the pack. Inside of this, I have a blister kit, which contains a little bit of a roll of Leuco tape, small roll of Leuco tape, a small Bic lighter, a big safety pin. So if you needed to pop a blister, you can disinfect it with the lighter and then, drain the blister. I also have single-use alcohol wipes, so you can clean sweat and grit and clean the area, and so that way the tape adheres as well. And then I have some blister shield patches, and that's a very basic kit. I also have a headlamp, which is a required piece for Cocodona to carry at all times. I have an insulated pullover zip neck jacket, very packable and light, only weighs 90 grams. I have some smart wool gloves. I have waterproof trousers, a buff, waterproof mitts, over mitts to go over my gloves so if it is raining, and I also have a extra battery for my headlamp. So that kind of shows you like the basic kit that I would have in this thing. The only other thing I could add into that in a more like really bad weather, I might add, like for UTMB requires 2 layers on the bottom. So I would have also have maybe a pair of wind pants, like a Houdini pant. In addition, it's very packable, packs down to nothing. All the gear I have is very light, so to fit it in a 12-liter, I have to have very packable, super packable light gear. You might need a little bigger pack, like a 16-liter, if you had a lot of gear and it wasn't as light and packable. The other thing I have is a micro down jacket as well that I could throw in this pack if I needed to. And the last thing I have in the back, or I guess 2 things I should say. One is just a waterproof, hooded, tape seams, required kit jacket. So that's a full waterproof jacket. And then the last thing I have in the back, I have an extra flask with an inline filter cap so I can filter from streams. So that gives me water filter capabilities. And then the last piece, I should take this off so I can show you, there is a small pocket on the inside of this pack that's a waterproof zipper pocket. In that pocket, I have emergency TP, which is baby wipes. That way I can pack it out, you leave no trace concept. just like in backpacking, I have a small thing of squirrel's nut butter lube. And then I always carry this in my kit, is a small snack Ziploc with a emergency blanket, my ID photocopied and laminated with my blood type and my emergency number to my wife and her phone number. And then I also have a little bit of cash, so I have about 25, 30 bucks in there that I carry at all times. And so that's kind of my full Maximalist kit. Now, if I was doing a more, last thing that I have in this pack, there's a required spot tracker to carry. This is a prototype pocket right now. It will be on the Big Bronco 2. I have my Garmin InReach Mini, so that way I can SOS if I was in trouble. I do a lot of solo big runs, and you can have, like, for 35 bucks a month from Garmin, you can have a pretty simple plan that you could tether to your phone, and you could text when you don't have cell coverage. My wife likes that, so I can text her when I get somewhere. If I don't have cell coverage, I can text her in 140 characters. The other thing that I do with this is there's an annual insurance rider that I add to this plan, which means I can get evac'd out, and that insurance rider covers that evacuation. So I do that as a safety precaution. And I do recommend that is something that you do if you're in big kind of backcountry stuff, and especially if you're solo. But it's even great when you're in a group, because then you have that in case someone is in trouble. Now, if I was just doing a more minimal day, I'm getting ready to go on a longer run today. We do have some weather in the area today. We're having some snow flurries. And there is a chance the weather's getting worse today. So one thing I would do, let's say I'm just going for, a normal long run and don't need a ton of water, I might ditch the extra flasks in the back. I would have my normal food up front and 1 liter in the front. And then I might have like just a windproof jacket or a waterproof, depending on what the weather forecast is, that would just get thrown in the back. And I'd probably carry the filter flask so I could filter water, because I'm only carrying 1 liter. And then I'd probably carry a buff and gloves. So just a very basic kit that I would throw in the back. And so it would be very minimalist, maybe not even take the poles, right? So that lightens my pack up even more. So now I'm down to a very minimalist setup, and that would be my mountain kit. I hope that helps you in your big adventures this season. Go use that and use those tips in your training and your racing. Giddy up.